Very good evening to everyone present here. My name is Vibhupriya Das and today I will be talking about plant tissue culture, some of the media which we can use during plant tissue culture, the various nutrients and their role in enhancing the growth of the plant. I will be mentioning about seed germination, shooting, shoot pod multiplication, rooting and regeneration, and also about callus culture and the explants we can use in callus culture. Apart from these culture protocols, I will also be talking about some of the necessary precautionary measures which we need to take in the culture lab. Otherwise, there will be a great chance of contamination. Tissue culture is a method in which fragments from a part of a plant are taken and are transferred into an artificial medium aseptically, where the part of the fragment continues to grow and function. Now, depending upon the kind of culture we are performing, there are many kinds of media which can cater to the need of the culture conditions. The most commonly used medium for plant tissue culture is the Murashige and Skoog media, or commonly known as the MS medium. Now, the MS media can also be used as a callus culture medium, also as an organogenesis medium by slightly modifying the hormonal composition. Apart from Murashige and Skoog media, there are many other types of medium which respond to a plant differently. Like the White's media, which mainly enhances the growth of root, that is specialized for root culture. Apart from the White's media, there is also the B5 medium, which is more specialized for cell suspension culture and callus culture. Medium like N6 medium is more specialized for cereal anther cultures, and Niches medium are however more specialized for common anther cultures. While discussing the composition of Murashige and Skoog medium, it is essential for us to first consider the macrosols or the macronutrients present in the medium. These include ammonium nitrate, potassium nitrate, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride and potassium dihydrogen phosphate. The first essential macronutrients includes nitrogen. Nitrogen is added to the medium in salts of ammonium nitrate, potassium nitrate. The main reason for adding nitrogen in the medium is that it is essential to the plant's growth and development. It is involved in protein synthesis, in energy metabolism, also in chlorophyll formation and in photosynthesis. The next important macronutrient is phosphorus. Phosphorus is added to the medium in the form of potassium dihydrogen phosphate. Phosphate is essential for plants' growth and development. It is involved in rooting, in flowering. It also helps the plant in storing and transporting nutrients to all the parts. Another main function of phosphorus is that it helps the plant adapt to stress conditions and also to extreme climatic conditions. The next macronutrient includes potassium. Potassium is present in the medium in the form of potassium nitrate and potassium dihydrogen phosphate. Now, potassium is very essential to the plant because, firstly, the main osmotic balance of the plant is dependent on potassium. Also, it helps in the active absorption of nitrates. Apart from that, it also helps in activating various enzymes, carbohydrate metabolism, carbohydrate synthesis, and also it helps plant adapt to various stress conditions. The next macronutrient involved is calcium. Calcium is present in the MS media in the form of calcium chloride. Now, calcium is very essential for plants' growth and development and retaining plants' vigor. Calcium is also a main component of the cell wall, hence the presence of it is mainly concentrated in the cell wall. It is also present in the root for better growth and development. It also helps in localizing nutrients and transporting them to different parts of the plant. Another major function of calcium is that it helps to neutralize the toxic wastes of the plant. The next essential macro element is sulfur. Sulfur is present in MS media through the salt magnesium sulfate. Sulfur is essential for plant as it plays an important role in photosynthesis, in chlorophyll development, protein synthesis and in tissue formation. It also plays an essential role in metabolizing the nitrogen and the nitrates. It is also essential for defense of the plant. Another main macronutrient to focus is magnesium. Magnesium is present in the MS media through the salt magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is directly involved in plants' growth and development because it is a major component of chlorophyll. Also, it is involved in photosynthesis. It helps in the activity of various enzymes. Magnesium also helps in the absorption and transport of phosphorus. Now coming to the microelements of the plant, they are required in very trace amounts. The main salts contributing to the micronutrients in the MS media constitute of boric acid, manganese sulfate, zinc sulfate, potassium iodide, copper sulfate, cobalt fluoride and sodium molecule. Coming to the various role of the micronutrients in the plant, first is boron. Boron is used by the plant for cell division. It is also used for transport of sugar. It is also needed by the plant in formation of seed and amino acids. The next is manganese. Now manganese is an essential element which can be used for the enzyme activity of the plant. It is also used in chlorophyll production. The next important micronutrient is zinc. Zinc is needed by the plant to maintain auxin activity, enzyme activity and also to maintain the hormone balance. Potassium iodide is the salt which in turn provides iodine in the medium. Now iodine is not needed in a very huge quantity by the plant, but however iodine helps in resisting stress and it helps the plant to cope up with any stress condition which it might face. Sodium and molybdenum are also important micronutrients in the plant. Sodium is essential for regulating plant metabolism. It is also needed in small amounts for chlorophyll synthesis. The presence of molybdenum serves as an essential nutrient in the process of nitrogen fixation and metabolism. Copper is also an essential micronutrient in the plant which serves the purpose of carbohydrate metabolism, nitrogen fixation and metabolism. It is also present as an essential component of various enzymes. Copper is also an essential element which is needed in photosynthesis. Coming to cobalt, which is another important micronutrient in the plant, cobalt is essential for nitrogen fixation. It is also an important component of vitamin B12. The presence of chloride, which is another micronutrient, ensures the turgor balance in the plant. Chloride also helps in the photosynthesis process. It also helps in resisting the plant against diseases and extremes of conditions. The source of iron in the medium is added in the form of iron EDTA complex. Now iron is essential as a component of various enzymes. It is also needed in chlorophyll formation. But however, the iron and the EDTA complex together they form a chelating agent. Now as a chelating agent, their main function is forming water soluble complexes with the other heavy metals, which in turn help the plant in the uptake of heavy metals. After the macronutrients, micronutrients and the iron sources, the next important component of the MS media are the vitamins. The various vitamins which are used in the MS media include thiamine HCl, pyridoxine HCl, nicotinic acid and myoinositol. Nicotinic acid serves as an important cofactor for the plant. It also forms the building block of NADP+ and NAD+. Pyridoxine HCl or vitamin B6 serves as an important cofactor for the plant. Also, the presence of pyridoxine HCl aids the plant in various biochemical reactions, cellular processes. It also helps the plant in scavenging the reactive oxygen species, also protects plant cells from early death. Thiamine HCl, apart from serving as an important cofactor in the plant, also helps the plant in various processes like tricarboxylic acid cycle and also in the pentose phosphate pathway. It is also needed by the plant to protect itself against stress conditions, both biotic and abiotic. Myoinositol is another essential vitamin which is needed for phosphate storage and hormone storage. It is needed for cell-cell communication in the plant. Also, myoinositol helps in the upregulated production of stress-related molecules. It is also needed in signaling pathways. After the vitamins and the nutrients have been added, the MS media is also supplemented with amino acids like glycine. Sucrose is added to it because it serves as a source of carbon. Gellrite and agar might be added to it. Now there is an option between gel-right and agar. Adding agar makes the media a little bit turbid, which makes observations of rooting and other observations a bit difficult. So we might also add gel-right because it helps to maintain the transparency of the medium, which helps observations to be very easy. Also, a pH of 5.7 is maintained because this pH has been reported for optimal growth of the plant. Seed germination and its maturation into an entire plant is an example of a fresh culture, the entire process. But when we are deriving a plant from a previously grown plant, that becomes an example of subculture. Because in subculture, what we do is we take a mature plant and we subculture it, that is, we take a part of it and we place it in a new hormonal media for it to grow into a new plant. Seed germination procedure and placing the seeds into the MS media was previously demonstrated in the video. Now, when we place a seed in the MS media, we keep it in the MS media for about a month. After 7 days of placing the seeds in the MS media, the seeds begin to germinate. To calculate the frequency of germination, what we do is we take the reading after every 7 days interval, that is on the 7th day, on the 14th day, on the 21st day and on the 28th day. Here what we do is we calculate the frequency of germination, that is the number of seeds germinating every week divided by the total number of seeds placed on the media into 100. For seed culture, several precautionary measures needs to be taken. Firstly, the HgCl2 treatment should be done very carefully. Exceeding the time limit of 13 minutes for my plant, that is Lawsonia inermis, could lead to a very reduced germination frequency. Also, after placing the seeds on the tube, what we do is we cover the tubes with a black cloth because dark conditions help in the better germination of seeds. Also, after the seed culture, as we are dealing with all the solutions and the sterile water, it is very essential for us to clean the laminar airflow. Otherwise, the next culture, there can be a chance of contamination. As we can see in this picture here, the seeds after being placed on the jam bottle have slowly started to germinate. Here we see signs of early germination. After 1 month of the seeds being placed on the MS media, here we see the seeds getting germinated into small plantlets. These are the small plantlets which needs to be taken out very carefully from the MS media because even little amount of heat can destroy them. So ideally we do that with the help of long spoons. After sterilizing it and after flaming it properly, we cool it completely and only then do we use it to take out these little plantlets from the culture tube. After the seeds germinated and the seedlings attained a height of about 12 to 15 centimeter, that is after 12 weeks of subculture, the plants were used for shoot bud multiplication. For the purpose of shoot bud multiplication, mainly the axillary and the terminal buds were taken and placed in the hormonal media. For making the hormonal media, MS media was supplemented with growth hormones. Now in our study, we used 3 hormones and a combination media. The 3 hormones used were BAP, kinetin and 2IP. Now we saw that BAP was the best hormone which responded to shoot bud multiplication, and a combination of BAP and kinetin each at a concentration of 2 mg per liter responded best for shoot bud multiplication. I have shown images of shoot bud multiplication in case of my plant Lawsonia inermis. For single hormone, that is BAP, 4 mg per liter responded best to shooting, that is regenerated 8 shoots from the explant. For combination media, BAP and kinetin both at a concentration of 2 mg per liter resulted in the formation of 12 shoot buds from a given explant. For a better understanding of how the shoot bud looks, I have here provided a very initial stage of shoot bud induction in the hormonal media. Here, as we can see, 3 shoot buds are evident and 1 is there behind it. So total, there are 4 shoot buds coming out from a given explant. For shoot bud multiplication, the readings were taken after an interval of 7 days. The shoot buds were maintained in the hormonal media for about 2 months, and readings were taken at an interval of 7 days in order to record the number of shoot buds which are induced after every week. For Lawsonia inermis, BAP at a concentration of 4 mg per liter and a combination of BAP at 2 mg per liter and kinetin at 2 mg per liter resulted best in shoot bud multiplication. Henna plants or Lawsonia inermis can be seen to grow and root efficiently in MS media. This also highlights the low cost of maintenance of the plant, as no additional hormones were needed to induce rooting separately. Here, as we can see, I am showing a picture of rooting initiation in Lawsonia inermis plant in MS media. Also, here I am showing a fully rooted plant in the MS media. We can see the many roots which are coming out from the base of the plant. Root induction started after 7 to 10 days, and it was seen that as the days passed by, the root number increased in the MS media. So to draw a comparative account, we also used rooting in half MS media and 1/4 MS media, reducing the strength of MS respectively. It was seen that as the strength of the MS media was reduced, the amount of rooting of the X plant reduced drastically. After the growth of the plant in the MS media having a proper shoot and a root system, the next step is to transfer the plant in the soil. Now, before transferring a fully grown in vitro plant into the soil, it is essential for us to acclimatize the plant first. To do so, we need a pre-acclimatization chamber. The need of acclimatization of the plant is that when the plant will be transferred into soil, it will have a vigorous growth. To do so, we will be requiring a beaker, and along with that a beaker or a conical flask for that matter. We can also use along with that filter paper, and the other thing we will be needing is Soilrite and soil in the ratio of 1:1 mixed together. What we are doing is we are trying to create an artificial pre-acclimatization chamber. To do so, what we do is we place Soilrite and soil mixed in the ratio of 1:1 at the base of the container. In it, we place the fully grown plant with the root and the shoot inside. After that, we seal the top with paraffin wax or filter paper, and what we do is we slowly put holes on the top of the container into the paraffin wax or the filter paper. From on top of these holes, we add drop-wise MS media into the Soilrite and soil mixture to so that the plant constantly gets a supply of nutrients. Here I am showing the picture of an artificially created pre-acclimatization chamber in the lab. As is seen here, this is a conical flask. The mouth of it is sealed with the paraffin wax with holes on top for us to add the MS media in it. Now the MS media is not solidified in this case, it is kept liquid, that is the Gel-Rite is not added. On the sides of the conical flask I have provided with filter paper so that it can soak up the excess moisture, and the plant is placed in the Soilrite and soil mixture below, and it is maintained in this condition for about 1 month. Here we can see that the plant has grown considerably after acclimatization in a month. After that, we transfer it into a container having soil. The next step of culture is callus culture. Callus is nothing but an unorganized growing mass of plant parenchyma cell. This can be induced from various regions of the plants like the internode and the leaves. They can be done so by placing these regions into the MS media, which has been supplemented by hormones like 2,4-D and NAA. In our case, for Lawsonia inermis, explants from the internodal and the leaf regions were used. It was seen that the internodal regions responded much better to callus induction rather than the leaf region. It was also noted that when young plants were used, the callus induction was faster as compared to a much mature or an older plant. For callus induction, we use two sets of media. Firstly, we used MS media supplemented with 2,4-D and NaA at a concentration of 0.5 mg per liter each, and for the second media, we used MS media supplemented with 2,4-D and NaA at a concentration of 1 mg per liter each. It was seen that callusing was much better for the second media set as compared to the first. Here I am showing pictures of callus induction for Lawsonia inermis. This is seen in the internodal region. Here we can see that there is swelling around the stem, and cells can be seen to grow from the sides of the internodal region. This started initiation in about 7 to 10 days. There is a second picture. Here we see that this leaf is subjected to callusing, and we see that the leaf has curled up and cells are starting to grow on the lower side and on the upper side of the leaf, indicating the callus growth. Here also we see swelling of the leaf and growing of the cells on either side of the explant. By following these procedures, it will be very convenient for us to grow a plant from the seed stage into a mature plant, and also to extract the callus from them by certain hormonal manipulation. However, it is noteworthy to say that these conditions can differ from plant to plant and should be modified according to the need of the plant. Tissue culture can be used as an efficient tool in this way to help propagate plants which are of ultimate importance in the medicinal sector as well as in the commercial sector of the industry.